Concern this hour is safety. That's why the Department of Transportation, the American Automobile Association, and others have joined Valvoline in designing this test. Now, all you need to take the test is a piece of paper and pencil and your driving smarts, as we put you in some situations we hope you never have to face.
The second annual Valvoline National Driving Test will be right back with host Robert Urich and guest stars Danny Glover, Barbara Mandrell, Jerry Seinfeld, Rue McClanahan, William Shatner, Joan Rivers, Ted Shackelford, Connie Selica, Al Unser Jr., Candace Cameron, Lyle Alzado, Marsha Warfield, Terry King, Fred Dreyer, and special guest President George Bush. The second annual Valvoline National Driving Test. The challenge is back.
This important program is brought to you by Valvoline Motor Oil and the people of Valvoline.
I think everybody thinks they're an expert when it comes to driving. I think we all think that we are the best driver there is. Obviously, that's not the case. Each one of us can learn more about good defensive driving. One of the big reasons why Valvoline is sponsoring this national driving test is to give people that kind of an experience. Let them take a test. Let them find out how much they know and how much they don't know about the rules of the road.
Welcome to the second annual Valvoline National Driving Test.
Driving might be easy if it was just you out there on the road, but in reality, it is a jungle out there. Traffic is a maze of cars, trucks, motorcycles, bicycles, pedestrians, all competing for their share of the road. The undisputed king of the road is the big truck. Weighing in at 80,000 pounds, the average tractor-trailer is more than a match for your 2,000-pound car. But there's no need to fear trucks if you know how to share the road with them. Here's question number 1 of the test, worth 4 points. You're on an 8-lane freeway with moderate traffic at 55 miles per hour. You're passing a large tractor-trailer and pull over as soon as you clear the front of it. Suddenly, the pickup truck in front of you slams on his brakes. You stop in time to avoid hitting the pickup, but the tractor-trailer crashes into you from the rear. How could you have avoided this collision? A, left more distance between your car and the pickup. B, left more distance between your car and the tractor-trailer. C, tapped your brakes several times to alert the tractor-trailer driver. D, all of the above. For 4 points, the answer is B, left more distance between your car and the tractor-trailer. The biggest complaint of truckers is that cars cut them off, pulling too close in front of them. Because trucks are bigger and heavier, it takes them much longer to stop than it does cars. You should leave more space between yourself and a large vehicle than you would for another car. A good rule of thumb when passing is to wait until you can see both headlights and the tires in your rear view mirror before pulling in front.
I'm Danny Glover, and I want to talk to you about Lethal Weapon. Not the movie, the car. That little four-wheel wonder shares responsibility for 2 million disabling injuries and more than 50,000 deaths a year. That's what I call lethal. You can help lower those staggering statistics by paying attention this hour and driving safely all the time. And if you think accidents happen only to the other guy, remember, to everyone else, you are the other guy.
Now, we've talked about some of the larger vehicles, like the big trucks, but you should also be concerned about motorcycles because of their size, their small size. For 4 points, here's question number 2. You are driving down a 4-lane highway. A motorcycle is directly in front of you, driving in the right side of the lane. He is far enough over that you can pass him without crossing into another lane. True or false? It is safe to pass in this situation. False. It is never safe to pass a motorcycle in your same lane. In fact, in most states, it is illegal. A motorcycle is a vehicle too, and is entitled to a whole lane. Don't be fooled if the motorcycle is over to one side. he may need to maneuver within the lane to avoid unsafe conditions or an obstacle. Do you know who are the most dangerous people you're likely to meet in your lifetime? Just look in the mirror. They're drivers just like you. You're more likely to be killed in a traffic accident than any other way. You should remember that the next time a traffic officer stops you for going just 10 miles an hour over the speed limit, and you're annoyed the officer isn't out chasing people you consider real criminals. Let's put you in his shoes and see what he sees. Question number 3 is a fill in the blank. We're going to take a ride. Write down every traffic violation you can see. Here we go. Point each, here are the 8 violations you could have spotted. Number 1, the brake lights are not working on this car. Number 2, rolling through a stop sign instead of coming to a complete stop. 3, making a lane change without signaling. 4, failing to yield right-of-way to a pedestrian. 5, slowing to a crawl or stopping on a highway on-ramp where there is other traffic. 6, pulling into traffic without signaling. 7, traveling below the speed limit in the fast lane. And finally, 8, cutting off another vehicle. Any one of these might trigger a driving disaster. Be alert, and remember, you get half a point for each violation for a possible total of 4 points.
Hi, I'm Fred Dreyer. I'd like you to listen up for a minute. When a police officer stops you, pull over to the side of the road first, then stop. Stay in your car with your safety belts buckled. The police officer will stop behind you and approach your car. You'll be asked for your license, your registration, and in some states, proof of insurance. Now you can go for the wallet, the purse, or the glove compartment. Give these items to the police officer through the window. Keep your hands in plain view at all times. Remember, the police are out there keeping roads safe for all of us. And it's much better to be stopped by a police officer than to be stopped for good.
Another creature to look out for in that jungle on the road is the bicycle rider. He doesn't have a protective hide like cars and trucks. His only bumper may be a pair of jeans. Question number 4. You're approaching an intersection where you want to make a right turn. A bicycle rider is up ahead of you, to the right. You turn in front of the bike, and it smashes into you. What could you have done to prevent this accident? A, stayed farther to the left while making your turn. B, pulled ahead of the bike more quickly. C, slowed down and pulled in behind the bike. D, sounded your horn to alert the bicyclist. For 4 points, the answer is C, slowed down and pulled in behind the bike. You should treat the bicycle like any other vehicle. If this was another car, you'd pull in behind it. Speeding up to pull ahead of the bicycle is a setup for disaster. You'll have to slow down in front of him to make your turn, and the cyclist will have little time to react.
See this? You can't break it. Now see this? Breaks real easy. In fact, in all my years as a football player, that's all anybody ever tried to do, was to break my head. But that's why I wore a helmet, of course. I tried to break a few heads myself. That's why they wore helmets. But now I have a whole new image. I'm a biker. Yeah, and here is my bike. And let me tell you something. I wouldn't go on a football field without a helmet, and I don't go running in city traffic without a helmet either. Neither should you or your kids. Do you know that every year in this country, more than 50,000 children suffer head injuries while riding a bike? and almost 1,000 die as a direct result of collisions with motor vehicles. So be smart. Helmets save a lot more than headaches. They could save your life.
1 out of every 6 people who die in traffic accidents aren't driving any kind of vehicle at all. They're pedestrians, and it's up to you to look out for them. Question number 5. You stop for a red light, and you find that your car is blocking the pedestrian crosswalk. True or false? You should back up out of the crosswalk. False. You should stay where you are. Pedestrians who now have the green light may have walked behind your car to cross the street. Of course, it's a mistake to stop in the crosswalk in the first place. You can avoid this by not entering the crosswalk unless you have time to make it all the way through the intersection. Give yourself 4 points if you answered false. Let's check in with our test groups and see how they're doing. How's it going so far in Sun City?
June did 10.5, Bobby did 15, I did 9, and Jackie did 14. So you know what? I'm in trouble.
Now we've got the gang in Santa Rosa, California.
Our average was 13. We messed up big on number 1.
How about the Boston cabbies?
Well, we all did pretty well, I think. Arlene did the best with 15 points. I came in second with 14.5. And John Campbell came in third with 11.5. And John came up last with 11. And the rest of those groups just better watch out because we're going to do even better on the next portion of the quiz.
And the people who should have an edge, the traffic examiners in Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay, Elgar received 13.5 points. Joyce, which myself, I received 14 points. Lois received 10 points. And Rico received 14 points. I think we're doing great.
Now add up your score. If you got everything right so far, you could have 20 points. When we come back, we'll give your brain a real workout with a test of your driving IQ.
There is nothing that I enjoy better than racing Indy cars. It's a good feeling to know that you have the best race car that is on the racetrack, or is, in our terms, the most hooked up car that's out there.
The oil temperature coming out of the engine before it gets to the oil cooler is probably somewhere close to 300 degrees Fahrenheit. And if it starts to break down, then that's when it's going to cause you problems.
In the 12 years of IndyCar racing that I've been in, I've always used Valvoline. I've never had an oil-related engine problem.
I think we have had enough experience with Valvoline in the race car that we know that that's one part of the race car on race day that we don't have to worry about.
You can't get a better product than what Valvoline has to offer.
People who know use Valvoline.
You can't settle for second best. The minute you do that, you're settling for second place.
There's a motor oil that advertises world-class protection. Impressive. But Valvoline is recommended by name in the owner's manuals of these world-class cars. The other motor oil is not. Whatever you drive, Valvoline makes the highest quality motor oil recommended by any car manufacturer. Around the world, people who know use Valvoline.
Get ready for Burt Reynolds in Evening Shade, Fridays this fall.
Welcome back. It doesn't take a PhD or an MBA to keep you from being DOA, dead on arrival, after a serious accident. Surviving on the road just takes a good driving IQ. Let's test yours. Question number 6 for 4 points. You're on a residential street approaching an intersection. There's a stop sign on the cross street, but no stop sign for you. A car coming from the cross street runs the stop sign, and you slam into him. How could you have avoided this collision? A, braked harder. B, steered left. C, steered right. D, braked and steered right. For 4 points, the correct answer is D, braked and steered right. Most people's tendency is to rely only on their brakes if they fear a collision is imminent. Often, it's more effective to use your steering wheel along with the brakes. Cars moving at 30 miles per hour or faster can be maneuvered with the steering wheel in less distance than it takes to stop. In this situation, steering to the right may get you out of the path of the other car.
I'm William Shatner. Every week on Rescue 911, we show you how emergency teams save lives. But would you know what to do if you were the first to arrive at the scene of an accident? Make sure you pull your car all the way off the road to avoid causing another accident. Then help anyone who is not breathing, as well as anyone who is severely bleeding. Make the injured as comfortable as possible and provide the necessary first aid. But unless you know exactly what you're doing, don't move them. Ask the first person who comes along to call 911 or a doctor and have someone else divert traffic. And remember, while 911 may be an exciting TV program, don't make yourself a star in it. Drive carefully.
Now for your etiquette lesson of the day. Question 7 has 4 parts, all involving turns. You are on a 4-lane boulevard in the right-hand lane. A truck in front of you swings to the left. True or false? You are safe to pull forward and turn right. For 1 point, the answer is false. You should be aware that trucks make very wide turns. If you pull forward, you may be caught in the path of the turning truck. Part 2. You're turning in a turn-only lane in moderate traffic. You do not need to signal because it is obvious which way you'll be turning. True or false? False. You must signal every time you change the position or direction of your car. 1 point for false. Part 3. You are approaching an intersection on a large boulevard and pass a bus that is stopped on the right. You want to make a right turn. It is safe to pull in front of the bus to make your turn. True or false? False for 1 point. You can't see around the bus. There may be people starting to cross the street. Plus, you don't know when the bus may start moving again. And finally, for 1 point, you're in a left turn lane at a busy intersection. 2 cars in front of you make left turns, but the light turns red just as you enter the crosswalk. True or false? You should stay where you are and not complete your turn. True. You should stay right where you are. Of course, it's best to avoid this situation by never entering the crosswalk on a yellow light.
Sometimes it's not a question of your rights or your right of way. It's how quickly you can react. Hi, I'm Perry King. I like to spend my spare time on a racetrack, but whether I'm driving my race car or my old Ferrari or a pickup truck that I've got, I've learned that my safety can often depend on split-second decisions, as in question number 8. You're driving on a highway at 55 miles an hour when suddenly you see a mattress in the lane ahead of you. There are other cars directly to your right and left, preventing you from changing lanes. What is the best thing to do? A, press your brake pedal as hard as you can and hold it there. B, steer around the mattress and signal to alert other drivers. C, brake and go over the mattress as slowly as possible. D, accelerate without braking to get over the mattress as quickly as possible. Give yourself 4 points if you answered C, brake and go over the mattress as slowly as you can. Your best bet is to use a pumping motion on the brake. This will keep the wheels from locking. Whatever technique you use, take your foot off the brake as you go over the mattress. This will give you better control of your steering.
If you answer correctly, give yourself another 4 points.
Hi, I'm Al Unser Jr. Every race car driver knows that sometimes it's what you don't see that can hurt you the most. You know, earlier this race season, another car and I were moving into the same lane. Well, you can see what happens when you're going that fast and that close to the other guy. I was very lucky, but that's not always the case. Take a look at question number 9. You are on a freeway getting ready to make a lane change. 2 lanes away, another driver decides to change lanes at the same time into the same lane. As you start to move over, you barely miss slamming into the other car. True or false? A check of your rear view and side mirrors could have prevented this dangerous situation. The answer is false. Looking into the rear view and side mirrors is a must. but so is a simple glance over your shoulder. The mirrors only show you what's behind you or in the next lane, but they also have blind spots. The mirrors don't show you what's happening one lane over. If you add a quick head check, you'll get the whole picture.
Hi, I'm Candace Cameron. By the time I'm ready to drive, the car of the future will almost drive for me. Now, how about a rear view camera and a little TV screen on the dashboard to show what's behind and to the side? And if you've ever had trouble parallel parking, and who hasn't, the car of the future will parallel park itself. Just get the front end in, and little wheels pop out to scoot the rest in. And finally, a breakaway car is coming. It's a full-size family van, but push a button and an extra set of wheels comes down and the back part slips off. With a car like that, you can offload and have a cozy little ride for two.
You see them all the time out on the road, the signs and signals that are supposed to make driving easier. But if you don't know what they mean, that's a sign you may be headed for trouble. In question 10, we'll show you 8 signs, signals, and markings for half a point each. Let's see if you know what each one means. Okay, time for the answers. First, the yellow light. We've all seen it. It means prepare to stop, not speed up to beat the red light. Number 2, this sign means lane added, such as where the on-ramp joins the main lanes of a highway. As you enter the freeway, you do not have to merge into another lane. 3, even though it says exit only, many people don't realize it means you must exit. Your lane will end. Number 4, divided highway. This means traffic is going to be separated by a median and you should stay to the right. Number 5, pavement ends. This means the paved road will soon end and the road will become dirt or gravel. Slow down. 6, hill or steep downgrade ahead. All drivers, especially those with large vehicles, should reduce speed and use extra caution. Number 7, flagger ahead. This sign means you are approaching a work zone. Follow the directions of the flagger, even if the way looks clear to you. And finally, the yellow solid line next to a broken line means passing is allowed in one direction, but not in the other. If you are on the side of the solid line, you may not pass. Give yourself a half point for each one you got right. Now let's see how you're doing on the test. If you answered everything correctly so far, you could have a total of 40 points. When we come back, we'll take you to the body shop. You'll see how knowing about your car's body can help protect your body.
After 10 questions, the Boston cab drivers scored an average of 29 points. The Santa Rosa teens, 28.5. The Atlanta DMV testers, 27.5. And the Sun City Bridge Club, 27.
Welcome back to the second annual Valvoline National Driving Test. They call them crash dummies, and for good reason. Who else would get in a car with absolutely no protection? Unfortunately, the answer is more than half the people in this country. Which brings us to question number 11, for 4 points. A young man is picking up a friend to take her out for a ride in his new car. He is very proud of all the new features on the car, including an airbag on the driver's side. As with most new cars, the passenger side doesn't have an airbag, so the friend buckles her safety belt. True or false? For 4 points, the driver does not need to buckle his safety belt because there is an airbag on his side. False. Even though he has an airbag, the driver should still buckle a safety belt. Airbags are meant to be used along with safety belts, not to replace them. The bag is only designed to inflate in a crash involving the front of your car, not in a rear end, side, or rollover crash. That's why you need your safety belt too. Once the bag is activated, it inflates in less time than it takes to blink an eye. It fills with harmless nitrogen gas, And then, in less than a second, the gas is released through vents, allowing the bag to deflate quickly.
Last week I went out with a girl and she told me to buckle up. I said, but we're in the living room. Actually, we should all buckle up every time we get into a car. The fact is, in a collision at just 15 miles an hour without a safety belt, you could hit the windshield as hard as 150 pounds of cement dropped from a second-story window. Do you know what kind of damage that could do to your face? It could kill you. And it's brutal on your TV reception.
Safety belts are obviously important, but could there be a valid reason for not wearing one? We'll see in question 12. A woman who is almost 9 months pregnant gets in the car to go to the market. She tries to buckle her safety belt, but feels uncomfortable pressure. True or false? This is the one exception to the safety belt rule. Women more than 7 months pregnant should not wear safety belts because of possible danger to the fetus. For 4 points, the answer is false. Even on the trip to the hospital to deliver, a pregnant woman should always wear a safety belt. The best way to protect the fetus is to protect the mother. Obstetricians recommend that the lap and shoulder belts should both be used, with the lap belt as low as possible on the hips, under the baby.
Good evening. I'm here tonight to talk to you about a national tragedy, the daily toll of lives lost on our nation's highways. Here's a terrible fact. More than twice as many Americans have been killed on our highways than on all the battlefields of this country's wars since 1776. Twice as many. Stopping this senseless bloodshed isn't complicated. A lot can be done with one simple piece of equipment, a safety belt. Buckling your safety belt is the single best thing you can do to prevent an injury or death in a car crash. And yet many people just don't bother. Less than half of all Americans buckle up, and that's got to change. We've set a national goal of increasing belt use to 70% by 1992, and that alone could save more than 9,000 lives a year. And remember, even if you're not going very far or very fast, a seatbelt can save your life. And so protect yourself, your family, and your friends. Use your safety belt and make sure they use theirs. Let's make the 1990s a decade of peace, prosperity, and safety. Let's make sure we're all here to enjoy it together.
Being prepared is the key.
News is mixed. American education still is in ferment, as it always has been. American education still is a national preoccupation. And American education still can be considered one of the country's most influential institutions. What's different is that American public education can no longer be considered a wonder of the 20th century world. We begin tonight with a look at life in an American high school and why our children do so poorly compared to those in other countries. To make our comparison, we went to the country that gives the U.S. its stiffest competition, Japan, Yokohama, Japan, and we went to Fremont, California, about an hour southeast of San Francisco, where the school's name, by the way, is American High School. It's the homecoming rally, and probably nothing reflects our high school life more than this. It's intensely social, it's carefree, it's peer happy,
Jump to the left.
it's queen for a day. But above all, it celebrates athletic challenges, not intellectual ones. Today, in fact, American High is giving a hero's welcome to Steve Lewis, who won the gold medal in the 400-meter race at the Olympics in Seoul, Korea. But in Japan, there is no more symbolic high school activity than archery. It reveals respect for tradition, precise observance of form, quiet obedience, and a feeling for the beauty of the arrow and its flight. For these students at Higashi High School in Yokohama, school is a serious place. Here, teenage exuberance and individual differences are subordinated to the demands of high academic standards. Higashi High is one of more than 100 high schools in Yokohama. Its enrollment is about 1,100 students. One of those students is Hisashi Ibaraki. He spends more than 3 hours a day on the train getting to and from school. He speaks fluent English, the result of living in the United States while his father worked here. A senior, Hisashi hopes to study computer engineering in college next year.
I get up around 6 and leave the house around 6:40. Get to school at like 8:15. And classes start at 8:40.
This is Amanda Hardy, our college-bound American student. Instead of 3 hours, it takes her only 10 minutes in her car to get to and from American High. A junior, she's carrying a course load that includes English, French, chemistry, history, and pre-calculus. Still, she gets almost straight A's.
Is that as heavy a load as you could carry?
Yeah.
Well, why is it so heavy? Why are you making it so heavy?
Most juniors that are going to college usually have their hardest year when they're juniors. And most of them have 3 or 4 hours with honors classes and everything. If we expect to go to college, we need to take those classes.
Pas de vocabulaire maintenant, gérer le ballon.
Both Amanda Hardy and Hisashi Ibaraki take much the same courses, but the way they are taught in Yokohama and Fremont is markedly different. In Amanda's French class, for instance, the teacher uses a lively, creative, almost social approach to the language. She uses a game to help her students learn. But in Yokohama, Hisashi's English class is taught almost altogether in Japanese. The focus is on grammar and syntax. Rarely is English heard.
オンの次にアポストロフィーちゃんと印がついてるんだろ。でおしまいのところ語尾がねずっとこれ揃えられているからですか。その
Classes here are pretty boring. Makes me sleepy.
Well, why are they boring?
I don't know, but students, they don't get to do much in class except just listen to the teacher. The teacher hardly asks questions or anything like that. You just read the textbook, explain the material, and that's it, mostly. That's what makes it boring, I guess.
Hisashi may find the Japanese rote system boring, but it does have a singular purpose, and that is to prepare him for what they call in Japan exam hell. The entrance examinations which all high school seniors must take to be admitted to a university. The exams are extraordinarily difficult and demand of students an instant recall of a bewildering variety of dates, places, facts, and subjects. The pressure to pass that exam is so great, however, that few Japanese students are willing to rely just on what they learn in school.
これで今度は C の座標を求めますね。これは簡単な話になります。
For many students in Japan, particularly those who are applying to the top universities, the end of one school day simply marks the start of another. 2 to 3 hours more in cram school, juku it's called in Japanese. And in Japan, jukus are now a $5 billion a year business. Hisashi goes to juku 2 nights a week. Juku is not free, but his parents are so determined that he succeed, they are happy to pay several $1,000s a year for his cram school.
Cram school is to prepare you for this one college examination. Is that its purpose?
Yeah.
And that's all they do?
Yeah, that's all they do.
And so you leave here after spending a day in this school and then 2 or 3 times a week go to an additional school. How long does that last?
It's 2.5 hours and on Tuesday and Saturday for me.
And how about you, Yoshio? When is your cram school?
About 5 days a week and Monday through Saturday, and except Wednesday, and I have about 3 hours a day.
Studying for cram school?
Yeah.
So you don't have any free time?
Yeah.
I mean, do you have any free time?
Almost not.
Almost not?
Yeah.
On Sunday?
Sunday, yeah. I have to study, catch up.
Really?
Cram school.
Stanford professor Thomas Roline has written the authoritative study of the Japanese high school.
Why do you think Japanese students are willing to study so hard for so long?
I don't think they have a lot of choice if they want to have a good life. It's made clear to them early by their parents, their teachers, by the media, by everything around them, that working hard in school pays off. Pays off because you're going to get a better job, as I said, better income, better security, and prestige in the eyes of your fellow Japanese. So there isn't a way out.
Good morning and a very pleasant Wednesday to you. I want to congratulate the boys soccer team for their first win yesterday, and probably not the most ideal of circumstances. And also congratulations to all our footballers, varsity footballers that were recognized by the local paper. And here's Mark.
Nothing like beginning the morning with a little Zeppelin.
Ominous music before the Pledge of Allegiance.
Little Zeppelin and the Pledge of Allegiance.
Compared with the Japanese devotion to learning, the American teenager's approach is generally one of cool indifference, not only toward school, but also toward those like Amanda Hardy who do well in school. It's part of the teenage ritual of breaking away from home.
Yeah, I think that the way you become an American teenager is to begin to set aside the authority of the parents, the authority of the society, the authority of history even. That's something of the American way. And it is kind of like the chance to be both an adult and not have the responsibilities of being an adult. And that in-between kind of time is